So we're going to click on this button, and this is the form that is going to show up. Now the first time that you get the program, you are going to have some kind of work when it comes to assigning students with their IDs. So there is a pattern for each class that you're supposed to follow, and that pattern is very important that you follow that pattern, because that's a pattern that the system is made to recognize. So it's good that you follow it. And also it's a very friendly pattern, because it's easy to follow. It's easy to follow when you have already started using it. It's easy for you to know where you stopped from. Okay, so there are some instructions that are given here, which I'm going to read so that you catch up with how this works. Okay, so I've picked the student ID for grade 4, and that's the one that I'm using as an example. So the first number, which is 4, represent the grade, and then you have 2 zeros, which are just the space between the grade and also the positional number. So the positional number just stands for the position of the student, whether the student is, for example, if the student is number 1 or maybe number 2 or number 3 and things like that. And also positional numbers help you to know the total number of students in your class. So for example, if you have 20 students, the last positional number is going to be 20. So in that way you will know that you have 20 students in your class, things like that. So so that's all about the positional number, and the last 2 numbers represent the year. So the year in which you assigned that ID to the student. Once you assign IDs to the students, like to all the students in your school, the hard labor is finished, because you are not going to assign them IDs again. So if you assigned the students, for example, in grade 4, you gave them IDs, the only time you're going to assign new IDs is when you are enrolling your students, and those students, either in most cases, they're going to be preschools and grade 1s, and those on transfer. Those are the situations that are going to require you to assign IDs to your students. Now, for example, if the student is on transfer, you are going to assign the ID to that student based on the class that the student is going in. So for example, if the student is going in grade 6, so you are going to check your class, the grade 6 class, and figure out the last ID for that class, and then you're going to follow the pattern and give an ID to the student. So for example, if the last student in grade 6 is on number 20, so which means this new student is going to be 600 21 and then 21. So for example, if he's joining the school in 2021, so it's going to be 600, which is the space, and then 21 is the positional number for that student, and 21 represent the year in which the student is joining the school. However, if the student is joining the school in 2022 and the other students have IDs that ends with 21, you have to use the year in which the student is joining the school as the official year. So if the student is joining 2022, we're going to use 22 in that regard. So that's how the pattern works. Another thing that I need to mention is that for preschool, you'll notice that I'm using 3 ones to represent the grade. With the others, I'm just using, for example, grade 1 is just 1, grade 2 I'm using 2 respectively, and also when it comes to the advanced level students, which we'll talk about when we go to the other count, and I'm using 13 as representing those ones. and for staff I'm using 14 to represent them. So each category of people that we are dealing with in this system has got a code that represent them. So just keep that in mind. These ones are just system codes. They are automatically generated the moment you add something, so you don't have to deal with this. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions and things like that, you're always free to ask me. And the instructions that are here, they are uh, they're very straightforward. You can read them, um, and you'll be able to catch up. All right. Now that we know what to do, so we are going to assume that um, these IDs are like this. Assume that this is the situation we're in. Let's assume that this is the situation we're in, and you just got the program. So what you're going to do, so you're going to figure out, okay, the student that I have right now is going into grade 2. So I'm going to assign this ID to that student. Let's maintain 2021, for example, that's a year, although we are in 2022. So we're going to get that ID, copy it, and that's the one that we're going to put here. Okay. Then we are going to put John Jr. and the date of birth, say 12 2014. The moment you click on age, the age is going to automatically be calculated. So this person is 8 years old, and we can say as you can see here, it shows that this is required, so we have to make sure that we have that. The birth is also required. So this person is going in grade 2, starting school in 2021, since that's the year that we are assuming though in 2022. Let's just choose maybe that's okay. Assume that's a number. Copy that. Okay, so we have put the information that that is required, and if the student doesn't have some of this information, you can just put the value new, and that'll be okay. So we're going to save the information, and this is going to pop up. I'm going to say yes, and now our student is in the waiting list. So when we click on grade 2, So here is our student. And then if you want to edit anything and things like that, you can do that. Things like that. Okay, so when we come over here, if you want to add the information concerning the school, you can do that. Let's say this person is from, that's the information that we have. Let's just say PO 66. Okay, the information concerning the students is going to be updated, and then when we check, we have that information there. So when we go here, you realize that the student is not showing up on this waiting list. So for us to see that student, we just have to refresh. So let's just click on this button here, and then click on the grade 2, come on the waiting list, and then we have our student. So when you click on the waiting list, the same thing is going to happen, which usually happens when you select the student from here. So the information is going to be filled up in the respective fields. Okay, when the decision is finally made concerning the student, that the student is finally approved, for example, the student is a newcomer, things like that, you are going to go on the approval area here. So you're going to enter the year in which the student is admitted. So let's assume it's still 2021. Let's make sure that, okay, so we have the information there, and then we're going to follow step number 2, admitted, yes. Now as you can see that the moment we click on this, realize that grade 2 is going to be automatically updated there. The reason why this is happening is because this side we did this because that's the reason why this is required, so that when you are on the approval section, you don't have to think of where the student is going. The moment you say yes, the system is already going to detect that this person is going into the grade that you selected area, which is grade 2. So, and then once you are done, you are going to click on the save button, and the student is going to be taken into the active table for grade 2, and the process is finished. So when you click again on the filter for grade 2, you're going to see that the student is no longer on the waiting list, but when you come on the active list, the student is there. Now the good part of using the admissions form here, because there's another form that you can use for student data entry, and I'm going to talk about that later. But the good part of using this form to collect information is because it leaves a copy of information in the admissions table, and it also puts that that student in the active table for student, and things like that. So you have 2 copies of information, both in the admissions and also in the active table. So it's a good thing that you make use of this. But if you like the other form that I'm going to talk about, it's well and good. It's all going to be your choice on how you want to manage your information. But this is how the admissions form works.